Don't be so, don't be so,
Hey Reese, you still there?
don't be so, don't be so, don't be so, don't be so.
Hello, YouTube world. Thanks for checking in. Shout out to everybody who came out today to Khaliis Take. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for giving me your time as well. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so you can get the newest content first, and you want to hit the notification bell so you can get the bonus videos I put out on weekends. Like I said before, we put out videos every day, so you won't miss any content here. Now, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. the, you know, this series going forward with the Utah Jazz, which I believe the game starts tomorrow, game one. Who wins game one in this series, and how tough of a matchup will this be for the Clippers? First of all, I want to say I believe the Clippers match up really well with the Utah Jazz. Even though Utah has Rudy Gobert in the paint, even though they do have some good pieces, it's not gonna be an easy series. In this series here, I'm gonna say that the Clippers bench is really gonna play a factor in this series. Pretty big factor too, because when you look at the Utah Jazz, having Jordan Clarkson come off the bench who is capable, and we've seen him have a couple of 40-point games off the bench this season. He's capable of exploding off the bench. So in this series here, to me, the X factor for the Clippers are going to have to be their bench. Their bench is going to have to match Jordan Clarkson or the bench of the Utah Jazz. Because I think that's Utah's one of the biggest strong points that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. The fact that you have a guy like um, well, I should say this, the fact you have a bench the way that Utah has, and the fact you have a guy like Jordan Clarkson who can easily get you 20, 30 points on any given night is going to be a huge, huge factor in this series. Now, of course, I think Kawhi and PG can offset a lot of things by their greatness, especially Kawhi's greatness. But you looked at this game seven against the Mavericks where Luke Kennard was implemented. Terrence Mann got some great playing time. It's gonna have to be a little bit of that mixed in there with what the Clippers do in this series because, like I said, they can't have another game like Game Six versus the Mavericks where the bench only scores 4 points. Because if that happens in a series like this one, I don't think you come out winning that game. Not against this team. And then you got to take into account of Donovan Mitchell, of where, how he's getting his confidence back because he was out for a while and then he started playing a couple games in the what's that the Memphis series. I couldn't think of their play. Yeah, the Memphis series. He started getting his confidence back and he started to look like Donovan Mitchell of old, before he was out with that injury, for a while and everything with the ankle, I believe. So, that's gonna be a tough task on its own. I expect of course Kawhi and PG to get a little bit of him, defensively, should see exactly where he's at, and see what he can do. Because I think Donovan Mitchell's gonna have a big series. I really believe he does. I really believe he is. And Rudy Gobert, that's going to be a challenge on its own as well because even though I don't really like Rudy Gobert, I never really respected him, that much, as far as, well, I mean, I'm going to say this, like, he's never been a top player of mine. I can't put him in my top 10 list or anything like that, but he does play defense and he does give Utah a lot of extra possessions with his rebounding. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give him credit for what he does. But, one person I think that can hurt them a lot, is Mike Conley, because Mike Conley is a shifty, crafty type of point guard. And I feel like if Reggie Jackson is matched up on him, I don't know. I feel like Mike Conley can have a big series as well. Depending on if he's healthy and everything like that. I don't know the status of his health right now, but depending on if he's healthy, he can have a big series as well. And I think that's just one of those pieces that the Utah Jazz have that can hurt the Clippers. Now, in this series here, the Clippers better lock down the perimeter as well because, with Joe Ingles and I think it's Bogdanovich or somebody that they have, yeah, I think it's really going to be interesting to see how the Clippers lock down the perimeter because if you don't lock down the perimeter, this team, Utah can really get off. Utah can really, they can put up some points as well. So, you got to be, careful in a series like this because Utah can put up points, but they also have a great, I will say, Rudy Gobert I would say he's a borderline between good and great shot blocker in the paint. So I got to give him respect there. But at the same time, it's not going to be easy. And I think this team, the last time I watched them play, let me see. The last time I watched Utah play, I believe I saw them playing zone defense. Maybe not the last time I watched them play, but I know it was one game I watched them play and they had a zone type defense out there and they went on like a 8 to 10-0 run easily because the zone defense they have with a solidified shot blocker in the paint really makes it difficult to score on them if you're not knocking down the jumper. Now, of course, with the Clippers, they're able to knock down their jumper. They're able to knock down their three-pointer because that's what they do. They're the best three-point shooting team, and, they're the best free throw shooting team. So if they do get to the line, the Clippers can make you pay. Just like last night, I think they went 23 or 24 for 24 from the free throw line. I mean, they're capable of doing that any given night. So every possession counts. And the Clippers as a team, they definitely make every possession count in their favor, especially if they're going to the free throw line, usually. So I mean, it's gonna be tough. But see this series against the Dallas Mavericks, when Dallas went zone and had Boban in there, well, Boban, Rudy Gobert is a lot different than Boban. Rudy Gobert is stronger. He's more athletic and he moves his feet quicker. Boban is just a big, body, goofy looking dude in the paint. You know what I'm saying? And you can move Boban. Boban is big, tall, but he's soft. You know what I'm saying? He's ice cream. You know what I'm saying? He's soft. He's not, somebody that I would, say that can really help a defense because it's the reason why Boban doesn't start because I mean, like I said, he's a soft player. He's just really tall. He can get you some points. But at the same time, it's like it's not like a Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert can move his feet quicker. He's better on defense. He's more of a dominant shot blocker, and you got to give him credit where credit is due. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely one of those players that can alter a lot of things in regards to, let's say, the Clippers put out Zubac. He can limit Zubac some. If they do get Serge Ibaka back, he could limit Serge Ibaka in the paint. You know what I'm saying? If Serge is, inserted back in the lineup if he's healthy. I mean, it's a lot of things that, the Clippers like to do in regards to scoring inside where it'll be altered some if Rudy Gobert is out there. Now, the best thing to do is just drive to the paint and see if you can get Rudy Gobert in foul trouble and one of their bigs in foul trouble because, I mean, that's going to probably be your best bet. But, as far as the Clippers, I do think they match up well against this team for some reason. I really do. If I had to look at the series in its entirety, I'm picking the Clippers. I think the Clippers could win this in 6 games. But I do think it's going to be a tough 6 games. I don't think it's going to be an easy one. And hey, it could possibly go 7 games, but I'm picking the Clippers in 6. I just think eventually after a while, Kawhi will be too much. And if PG, you know, plays adequate or have at least 1 or 2 games in the series where he really shows out, I think those are extra games that the Clippers can steal if PG is, playing at the level he's playing. Because, these last couple games, Paul George he hasn't played bad, against the Dallas Mavericks in games 6 and 7, but he hasn't really played good to me, and I'm not saying that, you know, he played bad or anything like that. I'm just saying that, he hasn't played up to the level I think that Paul George can play up to. I last night's game, he goes like, was it 6 for 17, 5 for 15, somewhere in that range. That's just not good enough. You know what I'm saying? To me, that can get you beat in the playoffs if you don't have a player like Kawhi Leonard that can literally take over a series and dominate on both ends. Because we all know Kawhi Leonard is a better player than Paul George, and he always has been. I never really saw any debate between it. Even back when Paul George was at his best, the only person that said Paul George was better back then was Kevin Durant, and that's because Kevin Durant was a hater of Kawhi Leonard because he knows Kawhi Leonard is arguably is better than he is. He's just an offensive talent, but we all know Kevin Durant's a great player, but he never could even lead a team to a championship. All his championships is with a big three on the team. And if he wins a championship this year, he's got a big three on his team. So Kevin Durant really, he's soft too, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? He's a great player. I don't take nothing from him. You know what I'm saying? I definitely put him up there. But to me, I'll take Kawhi Leonard over Kevin Durant any day. You know what I'm saying? I just don't get down with them soft players like that. I mean, and if Kevin Durant wanted to tweet me on Twitter or something like that, since he responds to everything, yeah, you're soft. And that's just the way it goes. But that's another story for another day. But like I said before, this series right here, let's keep it on the topic. This series right here can go either way. But like I said, my personal opinion, it'll go 6 games with the Clippers in Utah. I think, like I said, Paul George, I do expect a little bit more out of him this series. I love the fact that, Kawhi went God mode the last series. And I love the fact that he still has a lot of that in him because, I mean, that's actually, something he should show because, I mean, he's actually, been good enough. He's always been great. He's always been, a top 2 player to me in this league. But at the same time, it should definitely be, Paul George helping out a little bit more. So when I say, and I guess to attest to that, when I say Paul George should help out a little bit more, I don't need Paul George going 5 for 15, 5 for 20, and having 21 points, and just because he got you know, 8 or 10 rebounds or something like that, it makes up for the game itself. Um, I need Paul George to dominate a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Be a little bit more. And I'm gonna say this. I need Paul George to be a little bit more efficient. You don't have to be as efficient as Kawhi Leonard because that's just what Kawhi does. Kawhi is a efficient type animal, on the court, and he is just a beast. But I mean, you instead of going 5 for 15, I need Paul George to go 7 for 15, 7 for 14, from the field or something like that. I need a little bit more efficiency and less turnovers from Paul George. I don't like Paul George one-on-one basketball. I don't like that. I never did like that. Um, I never liked that part about Paul George's game. And if that's what Paul George is going to, do going forward, I'm not saying the Clippers can't win. I'm just saying that it could be a little bit harder for them to win because I think personally they have the talent. They have the talent to beat Utah in 5 games. In my opinion, they have the talent to do it. But you gotta, are you gonna get an efficient Paul George shooting, or are you gonna get Paul George shooting like 8 for 22 with 25 points, something like that, which is good. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but at the same time, what I'm saying, we need a little bit more efficiency, and that's all. But like I said, tomorrow night's game 1, we'll see exactly how the game goes. I want to see more about the matchups, get a feel for the series, and then we'll give our predictions a little more as the series goes on and see. But I think Clippers can win tomorrow's game. Maybe 110 to 104. That's my prediction, and we'll see exactly how it goes. But hey, let's let's see what happens tomorrow, and let's figure out the matchups and figure out, what lineup probably will fit this series a little bit more. Glad the Clippers are moving on. Definitely didn't want to hear no more Clipper slander. So I'm glad they're moving on, and I'm glad Kawhi's moving on to the next series, on his way to a possible another finals, winning another championship, possibly. So I don't want to speak too early, but I'm really proud of them, what they've done so far. And like I said, for the most part, everybody, on the Clippers played really good these last two games for the most part. There's been some turnovers. There's been some things that can be cleaned up. Like I said, Paul George could be a little bit more efficient. Kawhi is unbelievable. Marcus Morris really stepped up. Reggie Jackson's been great, especially these last two games. Just as a team, they've really been together, and they've really been playing for one another, and that's the main thing. And that's one thing that can help them get past a lot of teams. So playing together, playing for one another, playing hard. Sometimes it's not all about the efficiency. I just, you know, want more high percentage shots taken and make by Paul George, and we'll see exactly, well, more high percentage shots for the whole team, actually, not just Paul George, but more high percentage shots and more wide open shots and, more easier flowing basketball. Don't make it hard for yourself all the time. Just go in ISO, have good plays ran and set up, and, you can win a lot more games that way and be more in cruise control of these games because you definitely have the talent to do so as the Clippers. But, hey, that's my take on the situation. Let me know what you think about tomorrow's game against the Utah Jazz. And, hey, Cali out.